Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Health Check, sponsored by Kingdom Health Connections. Health Check is all about checking in on you. So come on in. Good morning, everyone that's tuning in. Remember to like as well as share. Health Check is sponsored by Kingdom Health Connections, and Kingdom Health Connections is all about cultivating a culture of health, wellness, and healing for you and the entire family. Well, as you can see, while we're on that note about family, we know that August begins, and sometimes even September begins the start of our children returning back to school. So while you're in preparation mode, while you're still enjoying the rest of the summer, please go all the way in, enjoy it, vacation, have fun, go on trips, have good times with your family, include the children in on it. As they're finishing up summer camps, whatever your scenario may be. Let's keep these pointers in mind. I'm just here to share some health tips to prepare you for the school year. Parents, guardians, as well as even share this with your children. I have some very interesting, not only just facts here, but also some interesting tips here that I'd like to share with you. Some pictures too as well that you can share with your children. Today's topic really is about hand washing. So this week's health tip is to remember to wash your hands. So training our children, reminding our children to wash their hands, as well as us as adults too, because I want to say that hand washing can be a lost art, a lost preventative art. In terms of preventing so many different illnesses, sicknesses, even recurrence of these events can be cut down by just hand washing. So just a reminder to us too, as adults, to remember to hand wash. So come on in, tune in, sit with me a little bit. Maybe you're watching the replay. And let's go over why it's so important to wash our hands. Hand washing actually reduces the cases of diarrhea among children by the statistics. And I got this from the CDC website as well. The statistics shows by 23 to 40% of diarrhea cases. So that 24 to 48 hours, maybe even 72-hour GI bug that many children, adolescents tend to get, even the younger children tend to get. Hand washing alone can cut this down by 23 to 40%. Did you know that it can even cut down the diarrheal cases by 58% among children who have a compromised immune system? So maybe they're on medication, that maybe they have type 1 diabetes, maybe they have something like sickle cell anemia. Just hand washing can cut down the rates of diarrhea by 58% among those who have a weakened immune system. Like I said, it could be asthma as well, can cut it down. Did you know that hand washing can reduce respiratory illnesses? So that's the common colds, that's the pneumonias, that viral pneumonias, that's COVID-19. It can reduce it down by 16 to 21%, just hand washing alone. And it can also cut down absenteeism in the schools. So children not able to go to school by 29 to 57% just by hand washing. Hand washing alone can do this. It can protect 1 out of 3 children from diarrhea cases. So those 24, 48-hour GI bugs, or it can even rather reduce and protect 1 out of 5 children from having respiratory illnesses. So that's, like I said, the COVID-19, it's the cold, it's the flu. Even now in primary care settings, it's been being encouraged to begin, vaccinations against the influenza. Even though the vaccine only covers about 6 months and protects children and adults for about 6 months. But there's this push to begin this to help the immune system to fight against having exposure from the flu and the cold and the things of that light. It's even projected that, we might even begin to see a spike with children returning back to school of COVID-19 rates going up. They've already started to go up. I've seen this already in actual practice. So what can cut down this? Hand washing, something very simple, but we tend to overlook it as adults, as well as we allow the children to overlook it as well. They're not washing their hands, so they're more likely to get sick. Yes, vitamins, yes, minerals, yes, staying hydrated, yes, having good sleep patterns can help reduce the likelihood of children getting sick, but something simple as hand washing can reduce the likelihood of children getting sick. Again, we're talking about back to school health tips that I would like to empower you as parents, guardians, to encourage your children to do. So there's so many different things that hand washing can do for us. So when should we wash our hands? It may seem so elementary. When should we wash our hands? Well, before and after we eat, when we touch familiar surfaces that many other people have been touching. So doorknobs, handles, surfaces like desk surfaces. We know there's less masks being worn now. Droplet particles and the flu as well is transmitted by way of droplets. So we're touching these surfaces and, common areas where common people are. If we're touching these surfaces, we should be washing our hands before we touch our eyes, even if we're touching our mask, when we touch our nose, any open orifices. So our eyes, our nose, our mouth. When we're sneezing, we want to encourage the children to wash their hands after sneezing. They shouldn't be sneezing on their hands, but we know children, as they're growing, as they're learning, their first instinct is not to go to their elbow like we should be training them. But their first instinct, they go in their hands, especially when the children are younger. They don't know. They're being trained. They're growing. So we want to encourage them to wash their hands after, because things are being spread by not washing our hands. So touching objects, especially for the younger children, a lot of children that are much younger, below 2 years of age, they're discovering the world by way of putting things in their mouth, cleaning the objects that they are putting in their mouths. I was going to say binkies and pacifiers, but that's strongly discouraged. But that's another topic, just because of what these things can collect over time, especially if they're not cleaned as frequently as they should. So if children are blowing their nose, if they're coughing, if they're sneezing, they should definitely be washing their hands before and after food, especially after using the toilet. They should be washing their hands. A lot of times we've seen with children, they'll run right out the door. Hey, go back, go wash your hands. Go wash your hands. You use the bathroom. You did not wash your hands. You need to wash your hands. And there's so many reasons why they should do it. If you have pets in the home, if they're touching the pet food and they're feeding the pets, if they're petting animals, they should always wash their hands. If they're playing with the dogs, if they're picking up the waste, whether it's in the cat litter or with dogs or any other animal that you may have in your home, we want to encourage the children to wash their hands as well. If your teenagers are taking out the garbage, wash your hands after taking out the garbage as well. So let's keep these things in mind, especially with the preparation to go back to school. So what are some steps in which you wash your hands? Well, you want to wet your hands, and while you're wetting your hands, then you want to apply the soap. While the soap is on your hands, you then want to scrub, 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 scrub. And it's been encouraged to scrub for at least 20 seconds. So that's, an example. You might have seen some commercials out there too as well, is to sing the happy birthday song twice. That should cover 20 seconds of washing our hands. You want to scrub because it's important to be able to lift grease, to lift any type of filth or accumulation of dirt or pesticides or any type of germs that's on our hands. The soaps that are antibacterial soaps, whether it says it or not, soaps are considered that. They're used for that rather. And it helps to lift off any type of germs that's on the hand. And scrubbing helps to create that friction so that way the germs can come off of the hands. I spelled the word rinse wrong, but that is okay. You understand what it says. Rinsing our hands after all that filth is lifted off of our hands is important. And then after that, drying it so that the hands can remain in that state until we probably touch another surface after that. So the question may be, we have hand sanitizers. We turn around, we look on the walls, we see hand sanitizers. We have hand sanitizers on us. I would prefer to sanitize instead of washing my hands. Maybe my hands get dry. And I just want to put a disclaimer in there that if our hands get dry, like my hands tend to get dry after washing my hands, is making sure to have a moisturizer on board too as well, to lightly lotion the hands after. Know that scented lotions have alcohol in them and they will dry your skin out. Same with hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer typically has 60+% of alcohol in them. And with overuse, you may find that your hands get dry. So you still want to moisturize. But hand sanitizer should be used when the sink and soap are not available. Water and soap are not available. So that's when we want to focus on using hand sanitizer when they're not available, when it's not available. Why is hand sanitizing not as effective as washing our hands? Because hand sanitizing doesn't get all the germs. For example, pesticides, it doesn't get all the pesticides off of our hands. So it's more valuable to wash our hands with soap and water than it is to sanitize our hands. But if we're not accessible to a sink with water and with soap, then go ahead and sanitize the hands. But we should always wash our hands off after and remind our children to do the same. All right. So I want to share this example here of why it's so important for those visual learners. And I encourage you, if you're preparing your child to get ready for school, show them this. I thought this was very interesting. I actually had this scenario back when I was actually a CNA, a certified nurse's assistant, before I came a registered nurse. And they also replicated this teaching also in nursing school as well. But the importance of why we should wash our hands and what it looks like when we do not wash our hands. Well, you see it here. So this is actually, I always wondered where my teachers got this from, instructors got this from, but this picture is actually from the Public Health of England. There was an article that was out there. They did an article about the importance of hand washing and why it's so important. And I remember seeing this in school and saying, my goodness, did they have to do this? But it definitely got us back in check to remember to wash our hands, to not work with foods and things of that sort and blow our nose and not clean our hands after. Well, with this article, it actually showed, to your picture on the far it would be your right, but it's my left. To the far left, they used a gel-like substance on the hand, very synonymous to how germs connect to the hands. They used the gel-like substance to the hand, and they used a UV light. In practice, we call it the wood light. We actually use this sometimes to detect if fungus is on the skin, and we use things to illuminate the fungus or bacteria on the skin. And this wood light was used on the skin to pick up the gel-like substance on the skin. And what you see on your right is without washing the hands. So you see it's all collected in the ring, under the nails, in the nail beds, around the hands. You see this, right? Then the picture in the middle that you're seeing, this is after just rinsing your hands with water. Just rinsing your hands with water only. And they did 6 to 30 seconds of just rinsing hands with water. And you can see how that gel-like substance is still accumulated on the skin, underneath the nails, nail beds, and the ring. And then the far, far left, which would be my right, you see what it looks like after washing the hands for 30 seconds. They actually, in this article, which was based off of a study, wash their hands for 30 seconds, and you see how much more cleaner it is with soap and water. So 30 seconds of washing the hands with soap and waters. Isn't that phenomenal? Doesn't this evoke such a desire to now wash your hands again? Wash your hands again. Wash my hands as we should be, as often as we should be. So washing the hands for 15 to 30 seconds has been shown to be very effective. So that's where that landmark has come, to wash the hands for up to 20 seconds, because it's right in between. So as you know, the health tip of the week for you, as well as training the children, is to wash hands. Let's get back to washing our hands. We know certain seasons come up every year. It's broadcasted, but it doesn't have to be broadcasted for you or your family. It doesn't have to be broadcasted in your home. And we have the power to make the choice today to what? Choose life. We can choose life by washing our hands. Let's stop and reduce the reoccurrence of these sinus infections, viral pneumonias, colds, COVID-19. Let's slow down the rate of these things by doing what we should do, which is to wash our hands. So today, as we know, we have the choice. We have the choice to choose life today by just washing our hands. We know Deuteronomy 30:19 says we have the choice today between life and death, blessings and curses. I call on all of heaven to witness the choice that you and I make today. Oh, that we would choose life, so that not only we would live, but we can train our children and children's children to do the same by practicing the preventative art of washing your hands. If you have any questions, I will go back and I will look at them. And I pray that you all were blessed. Tune in the rest of this month with me as I go over back to school health tips to empower you as parents as well as guardians, to empower your children to do the things that are good for their overall health. Because, you know, they not only have a future, they not only are the future, but they also have a future. And we want to give them the health tools to be able to cultivate that future. I pray that you all were blessed. I'll see you again here on Health Check, sponsored by Kingdom Health Connections, next week, Tuesday at 9 a.m. I pray that you're blessed. Bye-bye.